Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
Welcome to another episode of Simply Stogies presents Cigars and Coffee. I am your host once again, Tim, and I'm glad to see you back. Unfortunately, we did miss an episode last week, and we might miss a few more, hopefully not. Our good friend James got a little pinch of the Rona, and he seems to be recovering well, but it might be a little bit until he gets his entire sense of taste and smell back. So he's working his way back into the limelight with all of his knowledge and wisdom. And until that happens, I feel like you're going to be stuck with me for a little bit. So anyway, the coffee that I'm going to enjoy while I smoke this cigar is going to be the Nicaraguan organic Jinotega Paraiso, Paraiso. So I'm going to say Paraiso or Paraiso. Anyway, it is a single origin coffee bean that I picked up on BurmanCoffee.com. I picked up 5 pounds of a few different beans, roasted some up, and figured we'll give it a try. The cigar I'm smoking in today's episode of Cigars and Coffee is the Wild Hunter. It's by Oscar. It is looks like pretty much a Honduran cigar. Medium in strength, Toro shape, wrapper leaf, undisclosed, according to this website that I'm looking at. And I'm thinking it's also a pretty thin leaf, just because of how easily that cracked, just taking it out of the humidor. I didn't give it any time to sit. So yeah, the filler, the binder, and the wrapper of this cigar, it's all Honduran. So this is a Honduran Puro. So far, and I just lit the cigar not too long ago. I'm really only that far in, not very far at all. It's very creamy. I don't necessarily know if at this point I would say it's a medium cigar. I would say it's probably a little bit more mild, but I'm sure that the cigar is going to pick up as we go through it. Now, the coffee, it's a Nicaraguan coffee bean that is probably best, according to their website, at a medium to dark roast. I wanted to go a little bit darker for a roast, but I was having a little bit of issue while roasting the beans, where some beans were definitely roasting way quicker than other beans. And I didn't want to take the chance of burning anything or overcooking the bean, over roasting the bean, I guess I could say. So I probably definitely did more of a mild, maybe a mild to full roast or dark roast. But it has some sweetness to it and some woody notes. The cigar so far is pretty mild, definitely very creamy, not really offering a whole lot of anything that I can pick up just in my palate alone. However, when I retrohale, I almost get like a wood, like a cedar. It's not quite number 2 pencil. I know most of you have probably heard me use that reference before. It's not quite there, but it's definitely woody in the retrohale. I got this Wild Hunter by Oscar as a part of, well, actually, I got it at the last dinner event that David's Fine Tobacco put on. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I did buy a ticket, but circumstances came up where I couldn't make it. So my buddy Mike, he went, because we like to go to these dinners together. He went, he talked to Sean, let him know I wasn't going to be able to make it, and why I wasn't going to be able to make it. And he was able to still get me my sampler pack, which was an Oscar sampler pack. And this is one of those cigars that came in that sampler pack. And I've never had one. I've never actually seen one. And I think that if I would have seen one in the B&M before, I probably would have noticed it, because I was just looking online and the box is actually pretty cool that they come in. It's almost kind of like a picture of a woods. The whole box is wrapped in like kind of camouflage, like the camouflage that you would wear if you went hunting. So that's kind of a cool box. I wouldn't mind if I ever walked in and found an empty box of the Wild Hunter. I might see if I can throw a few dollars towards the B&M and pick that up. Pretty cool box. We're finally starting to get into the cigar there, maybe an inch. And it's definitely starting to pick up. That first piece there, or that part by the ash, really not a whole lot to it, just a lot of creaminess, nothing super special. But then we get to here, and it's still very creamy, but you definitely pick up like some sort of like almost a leather note. That's probably, I'm trying to and I've got a flavor wheel here that I'm cheating. I'm looking at a flavor wheel and I'm trying to work my way around it and be like, what makes sense to me? So I'm going to go with like a leather on that, which is kind of weird, the leather with the creaminess, but we'll see how it goes. The coffee, very low acidity, it's a smooth coffee, but it does have an aftertaste that lingers for a little bit. It's not bad. It just sits around. And I'm almost wondering, this is a good coffee as a single origin coffee, but I'm almost thinking that this would be a good coffee to start blending with. So like I said, I went out to Berman Coffee and I bought 5 pounds. I bought some stuff from Costa Rica, Peru, Nicaragua. And this Nicaraguan, I believe I bought a 1 pound bag of it. And I've roasted about half a pound. I'm almost wondering if this would be the right single origin coffee to start blending with some of the other beans to see if we can get some different flavor profiles. As always, make sure you visit simplystogies.com to catch the latest news and reviews right there on our website. And of course, you can also listen to Simply Stogies podcast right there, just as much as you can in Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, any of the major podcasting platforms. Also, make sure that you go out to oxfordcigarcompany.com. Anything on the website, put it in your cart. Use the checkout code Simply Stogies, all one word, to receive 10% off your order. I think this cigar is definitely one that you want to just sit back, enjoy, and not rush. I think if you try to rush this cigar, and I caught myself a little bit, and this is why it's coming to thought, I feel like I'm getting it a little too hot, and that's goofing up the flavor profile a little bit. So I think I'm just going to put her down for a quick second, let her cool down. The construction of this cigar is actually pretty good. I just got a beautiful white ash on there. I think right about here might be a little bit loose. I think that part might fall off. But so far it's holding on tight. My wrapper's not cracking anymore or doing anything funky. It's just burning really nice. Again, this is probably a cigar that you can enjoy just about any time, day or night. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so the wood that I got earlier in the retrohale, that's actually died down. It's not so much woody as it is. A little bit woody, but still. Now suddenly I'm starting to get a little bit of spice. I like that. It's actually pairing quite well with the coffee. I didn't know for sure how it was going to pair just because the coffee is a single origin, organic Nicaraguan, whereas the cigar is a Honduran Puro. I was a little I don't know, full Nicaraguan, full Honduran. I don't know, but actually, to be honest with you, they kind of work or play each other pretty well. I'm actually pretty impressed. And that ash, look at that. That ash is still holding, and we're getting into the second third here. Definitely getting hints of pepper, especially in that retrohale. The creaminess is still there. The smoke output is just beautiful. The burn is fantastic. Construction is good. The only thing bad that I could say about the construction is that I believe this wrapper is really thin, and as soon as I took it out of my humidor and set it down for the picture, it cracked. But it's winter in Iowa. That shit can happen to any cigar. So I am not going to hold any of this cracking against the cigar. I'm just not going to do it. Even if, because I'm starting to get into where that wrapper's cracked. Even if I have to play around with it, touch it up a little bit, that's okay. I understand. The only way that I'm going to put this cigar down is if I just can't keep the dang thing lit. Otherwise, I'm just going to smoke right through that cracking. I'm not going to hold anything against that. Yeah, there's lots of creaminess. A little bit of pepper is starting to hit my palate first. I mean, I'm not a Honduran cigar guy. I'm not. I'm learning. All of us are learning constantly. We may know what we like, we may not. But I'll tell you this much. That first third really was kind of like, it's a cigar. There's nothing special about it. But now that I'm in that second third, it just seems to have picked up. It's more of the flavor profile I like, as far as more of a medium cigar. I like medium to full. It just seems like there's more going on that even I can't quite figure out in the second third. I'm not going to lie. Normally I get to about here and I want to take that band off and just enjoy the cigar, not worry about the band. But I'm afraid that if I mess with that band at this point, my wrapper is just going to explode, and that's going to ruin my experience. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to keep burning. That ash is still holding strong. I'm actually pretty impressed. Yeah, so the cigar is just, right now there's that spice, there's that cream, there's that leather, maybe a little bit of earth, and it's coating my palate. Like, I really like that, the way that it's sitting on my tongue. I really do. It's very unique. I'm a little disappointed at this point that I had to smoke through the first third to get to this. That's funny. I just sitting there smoking. I'll have to look back at the video. You tell me. I don't know if my hand was shaking or not, but my ash finally fell almost at the halfway mark. The ash finally fell. And what's funny is that I actually have a piece of paper in front of me. The ash fell. Let's see if I can do this really carefully. And it fell just like that. How crazy is that? It fell off the cigar, fell a foot, maybe a foot and a half, and still it's an ash. That is crazy. I've never had that happen before. That is so cool. So far, and again, I got some wrapper splitting. I'm not going to hold that against the cigar. I've already mentioned that, but so far it's still burning well through that issue, but I can tell that because I'm not getting the wrapper in there, I can tell that it's changing the cigar a bit. I'm going to touch it up. Now, I honestly don't think that if my wrapper didn't split, I don't think it would need a touch up. I think we're probably going to be done touching up the cigar. It was 3 minor touch ups and then 1 big touch up at the end of that wrapper split. Again, I'm not going to hold anything, I'm not going to hold that split against this cigar. Other than the wrapper being thin and humidity, and now it's getting cold in Iowa, that's just something that I think just happens, right? And a lot of times when it does happen, it happens so bad that it almost ruins your experience smoking a cigar. This cigar powered through that wrapper like it was a very minor inconvenience, just a traffic jam, but I'm going to get through it. So that was actually impressive. The other thing that impressed me a lot is how well the ash held on. And when it fell, it was still a solid ash. It didn't just fall and blow into a million little pieces of ash. It sat there. That was impressive as well. So the construction of this cigar, 10 out of 10, for sure. The overall cigar itself, as far as flavor and enjoyment and so on, I'm probably going to give it a 9, right? A 9 out of 10. The cigar probably isn't something that I'm going to keep in my everyday rotation, but it definitely is a cigar that if I ever went to a brick and mortar and saw it, I wouldn't pass on it. If a buddy handed me this cigar, the Hunter by Oscar, I'd definitely smoke it, knowing that it's going to be a solid smoke. A Honduran cigar in this blend, it's probably not going to be my favorite. It's not going to be something that I regularly grab, but it's not a cigar that I'm going to shy away for. It's actually quite enjoyable. Overall, this is an 89-90 all day long. I did see a few other reviews online that were giving it 90, 91, 92. I like to shy away from the 90 range and reserve that for cigars that just 100% blow me away. This did not do that, but it's not a bad stick. It's actually quite good, and I would smoke this again. Definitely go out and grab yourself 1, 2, or a 5-pack. Or a 10-pack, doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and call this at about an hour and 5 minutes. And I saw online somebody else smoked it in 45. I mean, you must have been sucking on that sucker hard. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to give it an 89-90, somewhere in there. We'll just call it, we'll call it an 89. Screw it. The coffee is the Nicaraguan organic Jinotega Paraiso. I'm horrible about pronunciations, but you can go on to BurmanCoffee.com, buy the green bean. I don't know if they roast it. I don't know. You'll have to check that out. But I enjoy roasting my own coffee. I actually did an episode not too long ago. Go back, check that out, where I kind of showed you how to roast coffee. It's not really that hard. This is a good coffee. It's by far not the best coffee, especially single origin. And I do like single origin coffees. But I'm going to give it an 86. And the reason for that is because it has a very, very good aroma. It has a very good taste, but it just has this aftertaste that lingers in the back of your palate. And I really think that this is a bean that, instead of doing single origin in the future, this is a bean that I'm going to use to start kind of trying to figure out how to blend different coffee beans to make your own blend. So 86 on the coffee, 89 on the cigar. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I'll try to shorten it up as much as I can. Until next time, I'm Tim. Stay smoky.